As a tech head and YouTuber, it's almost a given that most of us drive Teslas. But I've got a little ways to go before that happens, so in the meantime, I'm still using my 2013 Toyota Camry with over 150,000 miles. The car drives just fine, but it's lacking some of the creature comforts that I would enjoy, most of those being things with CarPlay. Now, I could shell out the money and just replace the head unit with an aftermarket CarPlay one, or I could just use my iPad that I already have, get a $30 iPad mount, and set it up the same way that CarPlay would work. I'm Arnaud with Only Tech, and let's get right into it and let's talk tech. Now, everything in this video goes without saying, but still needs to be said, to please not drive while you're distracted. While having a massive screen to watch movies while you're parked or having navigation at your fingertips, being focused on the road is even better. So the easiest way that I can do this is to create a focus mode that automatically connects when my iPad connects to the Bluetooth in my car. By creating this focus mode to only activate when that happens, this is going to completely change the entire iPad. It's going to change the wallpaper, it's going to input all of the apps and widgets that I want to show, and it's also going to silence certain notifications and allow for automatic replies to go to other people when I'm driving. Plus, what I really like is that often it will just connect to the Bluetooth and just start playing whatever I was listening to last, and it'll do it all automatically, hands-free, the moment I turn on my car. Setting all of this up beforehand is really helpful because depending on your specific use cases and the things that you're actually trying to do in the car, a lot of times you can do pretty much everything you need to do with just your voice. This, of course, will help you to do everything hands-free to keep your eyes on the road and keep you even more focused on what you're doing. Plus, with the inclusion of widgets, these are essentially now giant buttons that you can now activate and launch whatever apps that are on your home screen, so that way you're not trying to strain your eyes to look at the normal-sized apps. And with it being an iPad, you're able to do split screen, so you can do split things with your music and your navigation, or even when you're parked, you can do things like having your news on one side of the screen and you can browse the web on Safari on another. The car mount that I'm using has been incredibly helpful and very secure. I'll have the exact one that I'm using linked down below for you to check out for yourself. Even when I'm using navigation out on those rough back roads, I know that this is keeping it very safe and secure. But speaking of roads and navigation, here's where I messed up. Big time. So I sprung for the cheapest Wi-Fi only iPad that there was, and little did I know at the time, the Wi-Fi iPads don't have any GPS in them. That's why my biggest recommendation for this entire video is to just get the cellular model specifically. Now, while you're getting that iPad with cellular, you are not actually locked into and committed to actually having to use the cellular service. That at least allows you to have the GPS so you can then use the navigation. And even better, you can do a workaround where you can actually use the offline maps feature where it will download the local maps in a very specific area and it will automatically update those maps every time you connect to Wi-Fi. While this won't be accurate and it is far from perfect, it is a nice feature. Honestly, the best and seamless way to get accurate navigation is to get the iPad with the cellular and to get a premium wireless service plan with it. That brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. You've heard us talk about Mint Mobile in the past, and we love partnering with them because they have incredible service at an incredible price. Right now, there's a special going on where any new customer can get any 3-month plan for $15 a month. That means 50% off the unlimited plan. They are in the nation's largest 5G network, which is critical because if you want to save money but you don't want to skimp on good service, well, Mint Mobile is there for you. So use our link down below to get started with Mint Mobile for the best price they have right now. And thanks again to Mint Mobile for sponsoring today's video. So all this setup is great and I love it. I have to be honest with you, it's not perfect. Putting the cellular model aside, those were my issues that I just kind of had to deal with, and I found out about it the hard way, but there are some other things that are kind of troubling. So the downsides to using the iPad as a CarPlay-like substitute is that, well, the text messages that you're getting, there's no way to actually get them audibly read to you. At least not in the same way that you can with CarPlay. You see, with CarPlay, when somebody texts you, you'll get a notification and you can basically listen to the message, you'll get an alert alert of who sent it to you, and with just your voice, you can actually reply right back to the person. All of this is happening without you actually having to read a single thing. But with the iPad, you are literally stuck having to either stop somewhere and read the message, or just use your voice to send a message and hope that you don't have to actually reply to somebody until you get to your destination. The other thing that you can't do, which is kind of important, is that you can't really take any phone calls. At least you can't take phone calls that aren't FaceTime audio calls. That's right, pretty much the only thing that you can take on the iPad is the FaceTime audio calls. Now, of course, if you get the iPad with cellular and you have a specific number to that, then you can basically take calls that way. So if somebody is calling your actual cell phone, well, you'll at least get a notification on the iPad that somebody's calling you, but you're only going to be able to answer that on your phone itself. The other thing to keep in mind is that you're gonna have an iPad that is literally sticking out like a sore thumb on your dashboard. So if you park anywhere that is potentially suspicious or anything like that, or maybe there's high traffic of people walking around, they're gonna see an iPad literally just sitting there. And so, well, you could end up losing an iPad and paying for a glass repair in the meantime. So to avoid that, you're going to have to take down your iPad as often as you can, and you're also going to have to set that back up every single time you get into the car. Not even to mention that you will also have to be charging this every time the battery gets low, or keeping it constantly charged and plugged in all the time. All that to say, it might be worth upgrading to a CarPlay head unit if you're a specific person needing specific needs. So if you're somebody that while you're driving, you need to do a lot of phone calls, answer text messages, listen to voicemails, and if you're gonna be annoyed at literally having to take down the iPad and set it back up almost every time that you get in, well, the CarPlay unit route might be the better option for you, because there's literally no setting up at all. Everything is set up and it will automatically turn on, turn off every time you get into your car, and you will have a great seamless experience with everything that you need to do. But if you're someone that those things don't really bother them and you're just looking for an inexpensive way to upgrade the interior of your car, well, going the iPad route might be good for you. Again, going with that iPad with the cellular model. Personally, the revelation of the lack of GPS in my iPad was enough of a mood killer for me to just go back to using my phone to do basically everything that I was setting up this iPad to do. While my phone has a massively smaller screen than my iPad, I can at least do a lot of these same things, but have that functionality of being able to do phone calls, the navigation, and all those other things that I was missing with the iPad. But all that said, if you stuck around, make sure you're subscribed, and if you're looking for other car tech accessories, definitely check out this video. I'll catch you there. Peace.